Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm CC SLC Gamer, and still very cold outside. It's like around 10 to 30 degrees outside right now, if you could believe that. But for today, I wanted to talk to you guys about some 2024 movies that I am most anticipated to see, and seeing how I did do one like around December, my thoughts have changed lately, so I thought I might do this all again, but also add in a couple of other things in this. But before I get into like my top 10 most anticipated movies, I wanted to go ahead and put in some honorable mentions that of the movies I am going to see in 2024, but are probably not around my top 10. So the first one I want to talk to you guys about is the new Henry Cavill movie Argylle, as an honorable mention. Reason why I want to go see that movie is because it is the director who did The Kingsman who's doing this movie, and I do know that the Kingsman movies have been very popular when he put them into theaters, and seeing the cast for this movie, like Henry Cavill, Dua Lipa, Sam Rockwell, and so many other familiar faces, it kind of makes me want to go watch this, especially since it's like a spy movie. Next up, there's the new Madam Web movie with Dakota Johnson. Reason why I have this as an honorable mention is because with Sony, lately their Marvel stuff hasn't really gotten much attention other than Spider-Man lately. So I would go see the movie to see Dakota Johnson and Isabella Marquez. But other than that, I'm not really having big hopes with the movie right now. I believe at the beginning I did have this one as one of my top 10, but things have kind of changed. But the next one is part 2 of Dune. Reason being is because I loved watching the first film in the theaters, and also seeing how Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya are returning as their roles, and they are both amazing actors, and seeing how well they played the story for the first part, I want to go see what the second part is like. Next up, we have the movie called Challengers, which is a tennis movie, which is starring with my favorite actress, Zendaya. That's kind of the reason why I want to go watch that movie, because it stars with Zendaya, but I don't know, it just also seems like a really interesting movie to see. Next up, there's The Fall Guy, starring with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Reason being is because this movie is starting with Ryan being a stuntman, and seeing how awesome it is to see actors doing really cool stunts like this. It seems like a really good movie to go watch, and plus it's an action movie, which is a type of movie I would really want to see. Next up, we have the Borderlands movie, and reason being why I have this one in this honorable mention list is because I'm not really big with Borderlands, but the fact that they're having Kevin Hart and Jack Black be part of this movie, I automatically know for sure you have a movie with one of those two, I believe that this is going to be a really good movie. Especially since Kevin Hart's really big with making all these funny lines during films that he's part of. And also seeing how Jack Black is also returning for a video game universe, and seeing how he is also wonderfully funny. It's got my hopes up for that. Also, the fact that a young actress who I am kind of starting to like a little bit more ever since she was in the Barbie movie is going to be part of this, Ariana Greenblatt. Seeing how she was like successful with the Barbie movie, I would also want to like see her be part of this giant video game universe. My next one is Kraven the Hunter. Reason being is because this is confirmed to be the first rated R movie that Marvel has ever done, and plus it's Kraven the Hunter, and he's kind of one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. But after seeing how all the strikes have like caused them to like do reshoots and all that, you could definitely see why it would probably not be on one of my top 10, but it is a movie that I'm really looking forward to. The next one is Transformers 1. Now, at the beginning, I wasn't really impressed with the fact that they're having like Chris Hemsworth do the voice of Optimus Prime, because I do know that like, I think his name is Peter Cullen, is like the OG person who played Optimus in all of these like shows and movies. But also hearing the fact that like they're pulling in like Brian Tyree Henry and Keegan-Michael Key in this movie, and the fact that it's going to be like showing all the events before the war on Cybertron ever started, and seeing how Optimus and Megatron were like best friends. It's got my hopes up to see the Transformers movie, especially since they like have a plot to like talk about not a war between Autobots and Decepticons, but to like show the origin story of them being friends and like how the war started. Also the fact that this is like an animated Transformers movie, which I would believe would be a really good option, because from the news that I've heard that making a live-action Transformers movie could be very expensive, with like finding the cars and all that. Next up, we have Venom 3. Now, after seeing the second Venom, I don't really know what to expect with this third Venom, because I kind of don't want this to be like another symbiote versus symbiote type of fight for Venom, because I feel like they should give him a bigger purpose, like fighting Spider-Man, because that is what he's like made for, to fight Spider-Man. And lately, the first images of the logo have been revealed, and I gotta say they did an awesome design. The Venom, of course, is still the same, but the 3 is also interesting. The next one on here is The Red One, which is like a new Christmas movie that's being made by Jake Haston, who I believe like did the new Jumanji movies with Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, and Karen Gillan. And starring in this movie, Red One, is Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, and J.K. Simmons. Now, seeing some of these recent talks with Dwayne Johnson, he's like saying that this movie would most likely be the last one where he like does something like action related, because it seems like his goal right now is to like win an award. And seeing his progress with like being Maui, Black Adam, and in Jumanji, it doesn't seem like it seems like he hasn't really had much success with like getting an award. So he's gonna like try to take a different route with like, I think he like stated he's gonna like try doing comedy type of stuff now after this. So it's his decision, not mine, but if this is the last movie we get to see Dwayne Johnson in for an action movie, it may as well be good. And Dwayne Johnson, you still have my support, even if it's in an action movie or not. Next up is the Wicked movie, who you might remember from like a Broadway musical with the Wicked Witch from the West. When I heard the news that they're making a movie of this, I was surprised and a little bit excited because I did love seeing the Broadway show for the first time, and seeing how they're like pulling in like Ariana Grande to be part of this movie. It's also very interesting to see how that's going to be playing out. And last one on my honorable mentions is the Mufasa movie, where it's gonna be like, can't really remember what his name is or how to pronounce it, but it's like Rafka, the monkey, telling like Simba's kids the story of Mufasa and how he became the king of the Pride Lands. So something like that, definitely looking forward to. And the last movie for my honorable mentions that I will see in 2024, but don't really have enough evidence to like give it my top 10s, is the new Karate Kid movie with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan returning as LaRusso and Han. And also the fact that it's gonna be like taking place in like a New York, from what I've heard from like when they released the logo for it. But yeah, both senseis of the Karate Kid franchise uniting to make a movie together, definitely a movie we're seeing. Now, without further ado, I want to talk to you guys about the top 10 movies I am looking forward to seeing in 2024. For number 10, I have the Garfield movie. Now, at the beginning, I didn't really enjoy the fact that they're doing Chris Pratt as Garfield for the movie. And I thought that that's probably not gonna bring the hype up. But recently, I discovered who is directing the Garfield movie, and it's... I can't remember what his name is. It's like Mark Dindal. And when I heard the news that Mark Dindal is the one who's directing this, it got me thinking about one of my favorite Disney classics that I loved watching growing up, and it is also directed by Mark Dindal, and it's Chicken Little. So when I heard the news that the director of one of my favorite Disney classics was going to be directing this, I automatically got so excited because I do know that he like did a really good job with like Chicken Little, his dad Buck, and also like pulling out some really funny lines for like Chicken Little's friends, Abby, Runt, and Fish, and just putting in a lot of humor in that movie. So I feel like for an animated movie like Garfield, it's gotta be like bringing in some of that humor into this. So it does kind of make me want to see it, but still not having hopes with Chris Pratt being Garfield. For number 9, it's the new If movie, which is short for Imaginary Friend. When I first saw the trailer for If, I was blown away on how well the movie looks, and like the fact that it like starts with Ryan Reynolds and like having John Krasinski puppeteering all these imaginary friends, and is also the one who's directing the movie. It's really got me excited because it also acts like a live action Pixar movie almost. And also seeing the cast that they pulled out for all of our imaginary friends like Steve Carell, Matt Damon, Maya Rudolph, Sam Rockwell, Aquafina, Sebastian Maniscalco, and so many other people who we all love. It's definitely gonna be an awesome movie. Number 8, there's Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, which, okay, the reason why I have that for my top 10 is because seeing these designs that they're having for the second movie and the fact that they're having a higher budget for the second movie, it's really got my hypes up for it, because they're making them look more like actual creatures instead of just like pretending it's like Halloween, dressing up in costumes. And before I move on, I wanted to also remind you guys that around the end of this month, the first trailer for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 will officially be out. And I'll be true to my word that you will be seeing a live action of me watching the trailer, because I promised that in all my other past videos talking about the movie. For number 7, there's Despicable Me 4. After seeing like the first look for Gru and some of the minions and the villain for the movie, it's definitely getting my groove back for Despicable Me 4, and also the fact that it's also like a very popular franchise from Illumination. It's definitely on like one of my top 10 movies. But I haven't really heard any news if like Gru is still going to be played by Steve Carell or anything like that. If Steve Carell is returning to play Gru, I still will go see it, but if it's not Steve Carell who's playing Gru, I would automatically just take the movie off of this list. For number 6, there's Inside Out 2. Now, after seeing the trailer for this sequel for Inside Out, I was just blown away on how well they're designing the movie, with Riley going through puberty and like having all these new emotions coming into her head and all that. Also seeing how Inside Out was like a big success with Pixar and is most likely going to be another big success with Pixar, since Disney has kind of been bringing them down a little bit with them lately. It's definitely a movie that would be worth seeing, and definitely a type of movie that everyone should see. Alright, now we're up to the top 5. For number 5, we have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Reason being why I have that for 5 is because it's not only having the new people who are going to be part of this, like Paul Rudd, Finn Wolfhard, but it's also going to be including like Bill Murray and the other OG Ghostbusters, which I feel like that's a big part for the Ghostbusters franchise. Is they introduced the OGs back in Afterlife, so they gotta at least keep them in the Frozen Empire movie. But not only with the Ghostbusters themselves, but the fact that they're doing a different villain for this movie instead of Gozer, that's definitely got my hypes up for it as well. Because new villain, don't know what to expect, especially since this film is going to be taking place back in New York with the Ghostbusters headquarters there. And how they like need to stop an ice age from taking over the entire planet is also awesome too. For number 4, there's Godzilla Kong, The New Empire. Now for this movie being my number 4, I did love the first movie that they did with both of these guys, Godzilla versus Kong. Seeing the action that they did for the movie with, like, Kong beating up Godzilla with an axe and all that, and like Godzilla using his claws to claw Kong's face, and Kong like throwing his punches and all that. It was definitely a movie that was worth seeing when it came out. And also the fact that they like put in like Mechagodzilla to be the villain in there, that was also awesome too. And the fact that they're like putting in a Kong sort of villain for this version of the movie now, that's definitely got some hypes up too, because I would probably not want to see it if it was another type of Godzilla villain, because they already did Mechagodzilla, so they gotta like try to do something Kong related. But not just the movie itself, but the designs that they have for both Kong and Godzilla. Because for one, Kong like now has a mechanical arm that like either helps him with his hand or anything like that. Don't really know much about it, but the way how it looks on his arm, it almost looks like he's going a little bit Iron Man in there, because it's kind of like a prototype repulsor hand. But Godzilla, on the other hand, he's going a different color from blue to like pink, which is pretty awesome, because new form of Godzilla, definitely something worth seeing. Now we're up to the top 3. For number 3, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, because who the heck would not want to see another Sonic movie? And I personally enjoyed the second movie so much, where they introduced Tails and Knuckles. And for this third movie, the 3 of them are going to be going toe-to-toe with one of the most popular Sonic characters of all time, Shadow the Hedgehog. And seeing how well the second movie did with like Sonic going up against Knuckles and all that action, I can only imagine what the action's going to be looking like for the third movie, with like Sonic going up against Shadow and all that. And also seeing how, well, not really much there, but I do know that lately they did make a Lego set for Shadow the Hedgehog, if you could believe that. And I feel like for Shadow, one of the things I hope is that they could like make him a bit like he is in the games. Like most people want him to like have his gun that he has in the games. But one thing I would kind of want to see is like him with a motorcycle, because that would obviously be a really good idea. And also the fact that there's other possibilities of other characters showing up in there, because there's a chance that Robotnik could be returning. Jim Carrey did say he's retiring, but this could possibly be his last movie that he's part of. But there also have been like talks about if Amy's gonna be part of that, or Rogue, or anything like that. Heck, I would even be down for a Metal Sonic if they end up having him being the main villain. For number 2, it's Kung Fu Panda 4. Now, you're wondering why I have Kung Fu Panda 4 as number 2. It's because, for one, Jack Black's returning as Po, which is a big thing for the movie. And also seeing how they like have an epic conclusion for Po being the Dragon Warrior in the second movie. Not the second movie, fourth movie. It's definitely got hopes for that. And also the fact that they're like doing Awkwafina being a new friend for Po. and seeing how funny her character is, it's definitely got me excited for that as well. Also, wondering to like see like Tai Lung and all the other villains that Poe has fought returning in this, and having this villain being the Chameleon, which is a female villain. That's also a big thing I like about it, and that she can turn into any of Poe's villains. And for number 1, I mean, it's obvious, Deadpool 3. Reason being I have that for number 1 is because obviously it's Deadpool and it's Ryan Reynolds. They both made the second and first movie so awesome with all the action and all the R-rated trash talking that they put in the movie. And part of the reason why Deadpool 3 is number 1 is because they revealed that Hugh Jackman's returning as Wolverine in the yellow and blue suit, which I think is like a big thing for Wolverine to return and at least have him have the yellow and blue suit. And also with the recent news that like the third movie is going to be something related to No Way Home, where they're going to be like bringing in so many of our favorite Fox versions of Marvel characters like the Fantastic Four and like so many other X-Men in there. That also brings the hype up too, especially since it's like taking an angle that No Way Home did. But all in all, that's my top 10 most anticipated videos for 2024, and also my honorable mentions of 2024. I also want to hear from you guys, your lists about what's your number 1 movie that you're excited to see in 2024, and some of the other movies that you're excited to see. And I would also like to hear your opinions on why you have those as your most anticipated movies. And I will see you guys next time. See ya. And make sure you're staying warm.